We've rejoined the story in Merzouga, known as the gateway to the Sahara Desert. We'd stayed at a campsite for a few nights before opting to hit the road again. Our journey would take us across the country towards the coast in the west after crossing the Atlas Mountains again, before finally heading south. An early start meant it was cold, and whilst pulling over to make a coffee and warm up, I got sidetracked taking this photo at the top of a rocky hill. Going up was easier than coming down, but this little 125 was more mountain goat than bike on that morning, and we successfully navigated all the rocks. Suitably warmed up, we continued on our way, finding a biker friend briefly as we wriggled our way westwards, trying our best to take everything in as we passed through towns and villages, each day showing us someone else's everyday. It was at this time, with open roads, my mind wandered back to Lauren's engine troubles earlier in the trip. But that thought was brief, and we continued on to somewhere we'd been so keen to visit, Agadir's Gorge. It was formed millions of years ago by streams that carved a path through the soft rock after the ocean waters retreated, leaving these breathtaking views behind. It's not an uncommon sight to see local Berbers that still live in caves and traditional buildings from the twisting roadside. It was surprisingly quiet here considering it's a tourist attraction, but I guess that's the benefit of being out of peak season. We enjoyed this area a lot, taking a moment to have some lunch by the road before making multiple passes up and down the road. It was just too stunning not to do so. The day was getting long though. Our playtime in the gorge left little time to find a decent camping place. Finally found a camp spot in an old riverbed. It's going to be us for the night, kind of hidden. The road's well over that way. You can hear a dog barking over there, but it'll be fine. Had a big old day today, 221 miles. Yeah, a lot of wind about, a lot of dust. Yeah, been a fairly hectic ride, but we had a nice play down the Dada's Gorge, whatever that gorge is. I know some people will judge our decision to camp in a riverbed, though we made sure we stayed on the highest area of ground, meaning if a flash flood came, we'd have some warning. And we learnt from our mistake, and likely won't do that again. We made good time on this day. We really should have taken time to stop in Wozouzet and explore the Kasbah that dominated the town, but it's more reasons to come back for a future visit. Heading back across the Atlas Mountains would be the order of the day, though the weather was all of a sudden not very Moroccan and actually much more European, with low cloud, mist and then rain, meaning a hotel was in order to dry us and our gear out. I use an Insta360 X3 camera to get shots like this on my travels, as it doesn't matter which direction it's facing, and now there's a new and improved model. Insta360 kindly sent me this X4 camera, so now I can capture more of my travel journey in 8K resolution at 30 frames a second and 5.7K footage at 60 frames a second, meaning I never miss out on quality no matter where I reframe the shot. And with gesture control, I can get shots like this without worrying about pressing buttons with my gloves on. I'll be doing a closer look at this camera and everything that it's capable of doing in an upcoming video. But if you want to order your own, head to the Insta360 website, the link is in the description, and use this code on screen to get yourself a free gift when you order. Now, thanks very much to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. Now it's time to get back to Morocco.
And here we take a moment to look at the humble overlander in their natural habitat. They've managed to get a hotel room for the evening and have dutifully chucked all of their absolutely everywhere. They're taking a moment to do laundry, to dry some things out, and to hopefully cook outside of the rain. Isn't that just a fabulous insight into the absolute wonderful life of an overlander?
Clearly cementing myself as the next wildlife broadcaster and suitably dried out, we accidentally passed through the outskirts of Marrakesh on the way to the coast. It was a hectic ride, but didn't last long until we were back on the open road. Where are we, babe? At the beach. That over there is the Atlantic Ocean. First time we've seen that for a little while. Eswera, I don't know how to say it. Just taking 5 minutes to chill out, but it's very touristy here. Yeah, loads of kite surfers, very windy, windsurfing going on. Beautiful spot, but it's kind of like southern Spain. It reminds me of that quite a lot. But we're not going to be here for long. We're just whistle stop tour, have a quick look, and then we're shooting on. Going to keep heading south because our Benin visa. I only realised the other day that we've got 6 weeks to get to and through Benin, so kind of need to crack on with some miles. Dear viewer, we did not make it to or through Benin in 6 weeks. It would actually take us around 10 weeks to get to Benin, but you'll learn more about how the journey went in future videos. We carved our way down the N1 slowly but surely, even seeing tourists finding inventive ways to carry their surfboards, as surfing's a huge thing around this area. Well, goodness me, I think we've got one of the best camp spots of the trip so far. Look at that. Oh. We set off early the next morning, but it wasn't too long before that haunting thought of Lauren's engine troubles resurfaced. Tools out by the roadside and checking all the basics I could, like wheel bearings, but I had a real sinking feeling that we had major problems on our hands.
How are you?
Stuff.
Why?
First time in, what, a week? We've actually got up early, we're packed away, we're done. We're on the road, and then your bike decides to have a little meltdown. Just a quick reminder, or if you're new here, Lauren's bike had a new engine, or a replacement engine at least, and that replacement engine has been running absolutely fine, but it's got a really bad vibration, just suddenly started, and I think I've slightly cured it, in that it was the exhaust coming loose. The reason the exhaust is coming loose is because there's two bolts. One of them is the normal stud, one of them has been had an oversized like 8mm what's it called, bolt put in there, but the head already had a repair to go up to 8mm, so that's now stripped, which is why one of the bolts is loose. So now we're going to have to get that repaired at the bike shop. Hope that the bike shop has enough English for me to explain it, or I can master enough French between now and an hour's time to explain it, or show them, and then hope they've got the tools to fix it. I'm pissed off. Beautiful view though. Leaving the beautiful view behind and feeling slightly stressed, we rode the short stretch to Agadir to attempt to find the repair shop that was open. With it being a Sunday, it would prove to be a tricky task. As we waited outside trying to make a plan, our saviour arrived. Sorry, your name is? Hadid. Tom. Lauren.
And you're from Great Britain?
England, yeah. Yeah, Great Britain, yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Don't hesitate, call me if you need some help.
Perfect. Thank you. We exchanged numbers and Khadid recommended a campsite just up the road and promised to help us tomorrow with everything we needed. I rode Lauren's bike back to the campsite and got to test my now excellent French.
Bonjour monsieur. Bien, merci. Et toi?
Ça va?
Bien, bien.
Bien, ça va, merci. Ça va.
Une nuit?
Yeah, tu passes la réception?
Ah, réception. Ah, merci monsieur.
The next morning, after tightening the engine mounting bolts, Lauren's bike felt much better. Khadid then helped us repair the exhaust by finding the appropriate shops and then wouldn't let us pay. Another taste of Moroccan and biker hospitality.
There he goes. Our saviour.
Our mood was now boosted. Overtaking traffic bikes and playing conductor in my mind, we visited the local Medina that was rebuilt in the classic style after an earthquake destroyed the original.
Get Euros sorted out.
Yeah.
We got into this place, which is pretty awesome, for free when it's meant to be 40 dirham per person. Yeah, good things happen. It's good not to plan too much, isn't it? Look at the mosaic. Look at that.
Continued our charge south. My bike clocked over 27,000 miles, meaning we'd now covered more than 3,500 miles since leaving home. And then, in a supermarket car park, I met some young boys who were excited to meet a YouTuber.
We'll do a drive-by. It's on! Shukran. Au revoir.
After giving them their moment of fame, we headed a few kilometres out of town to find a spot to sleep for the night. It was pretty close to the road, but it would do.
Camera's never going to do it justice. What you're seeing, there's way more light flare than there is. That's just a perfect orb at the minute.
More early starts and the cold morning temperatures meant that we needed all the layers. A slight detour today would see us tackle many kilometres of dirt roads. There were many rocks of various sizes, and it was all an effort to visit Fortress Boucherie. A now abandoned fortress that was built by the French army back in 1935. It was interesting to see, but a shame that it had been left to ruin. From here on, we began to see very little as we headed into the region known as the Western Sahara to most, but it's Morocco if you ask Moroccans. When Spain withdrew from the region, conflict erupted and tensions are still high in some areas. But for us, there was no conflict, as it was the first time we managed to fill our fuel tanks at less than £1 a litre for a long time, as fuel subsidised in this area. Another few kilometres detour on dirt and sand would find us our home for the night at an abandoned campsite.
Well, bad news. If you remember in the build videos, I said, oh, I'm glad I found this now rather than having to deal with it when I'm in the middle of nowhere.
and I was talking about this handle, and I welded it together, and it turns out snapped, hasn't it? But it's all right. It's not like, I don't know, we're in the Sahara bloody desert. Fucking hell. Well, it'll either work or it'll break worse, and we'll really have to fix it. With those words of wisdom and an additional strap around the luggage, it was time to cue the 80s music to begin a montage of crossing a desert. Is about half an hour that way, I think. Let me just show you what's happening. We're scared and alone. Do not give up. Hopefully that won't happen. So it's pretty grim. Not a massive amount of room, but we'll get the tent and stuff in. Yeah, not so bad. This one's quite a little. Quitting won't speed things up. Going south. Tips to remember: smile. Get the f out of Mauritania ASAP. Auberge Sahara NDB. Africa Escape in NCR. Diama. Enjoy Senegal. The fridges work there. Cheers. EVL SVG. The short charge to the border was easy, and we arrived early. It's always recommended to leave yourself more time. This would prove to be a good choice. Welcome to Mauritania! We made it! Woohoo! The video doesn't show is the 5-hour wait at customs in Morocco, as they asked me to prove where my car was. What transpired is that somehow my bike had been double entered onto their system, and we had to wait hours for them to check camera footage at the port of entry before they would allow us to continue. The Mauritania border would be slightly stressful, but we had time to chat to a lot of other travellers and bikers, which helped pass the time. Our first stop in Mauritania would be Nouadhibou, a place run by two Australian guys, Rick and Peter. We got the details from an American gent at the border, and after touring back streets in an attempt to find the place, we finally arrived. It was hot, it was smelly, and we needed a good rest and a hot shower before the next day. Got insurance bought, gonna go for a little wander in the town. It is hot.
I need a cold beer.
Yeah, we need a beer. Can't get a beer here. We can, but you can't.
I didn't get a big trouble for getting a beer here.
Yeah, it's a bit naughty. So let's get to Senegal, get a cold beer.
I can't wait.
We were keen to get to Senegal for a cold beer, so that's what we did. This day would be one of our biggest on the road, more than 550 kilometers in one day, with just 10 horsepower. was already annoyed at the roadside fuel stop, as they clearly were trying to sell me less fuel than agreed at an inflated price, so I was even less happy when he spilt fuel all over my crotch. Thankfully it got us to the next fuel station, and then after spending an awful night by the road outside of Nouakchott, the capital, we passed through the national park that runs alongside the Senegal River, seeing some real wildlife and plenty of cows. This road was awful. For more than 30 miles or 50 kilometres, the road beat us into submission.
So, once again, Tom has broken something else on my bike.
We're not having that.
More straps were employed to hold Lauren's luggage up, and finally, we were at the Senegalese border, ready for our third African country. Though to see how we got on there, you'll have to come back next time.